As we approach the Christmas time, a question usually gets asked: what's your favourite Christmas movie? And to tell you the truth, I've really thought about it this year, and sadly I came to the realisation that all Christmas films are shit. With the exception of Die Hard, I really don't enjoy many Christmas films, and I've seen the classics. So it got me thinking, what do I enjoy that is Christmas related? And of course TV popped up, as there's some really great TV episodes centered around Christmas, and that's what this video is about, is to talk about my personal favourite Christmas episodes. But before we get into those, let's talk about honourable mentions. Firstly, The Simpsons pilot, Simpsons roasting on an open fire. I think this needs to be mentioned first, not only because it was the first ever Christmas episode they made, but it's also the first ever Simpsons episode, which catapulted the show to stardom. And whilst this is a great episode, the show, in my eyes, has made way better Christmas episodes as the show has progressed. Malcolm in the Middle, Christmas. To put this in honourable mentions was actually quite difficult for me, as I believe the show has many great Christmas episodes, but the one I have chosen I feel is much more better and more chaotic. Futurama, Xmas Story. This episode was hilarious and cool to see, especially with them changing the whole concept and idea of Santa. And it's also interesting to see it from Fry's point of view, as it is his first Xmas since being frozen. Married with Children, It's a Wonderful Life Part 1 and 2. To me, I saw this as a decent double partner with a great guest star, that being Sam Kinison, who was given the unfortunate task of convincing Al Bundy that a life without him would be worse for the world and his family. Only Fools and Horses, Jolly Boys Outing. Honestly, this is one of my favourite Christmas special of theirs, due to the amount of things going wrong when they allow Del Boy of all people to take charge. Now sadly, the reason it's not in my actual list is because there's no Christmas theme involved in this episode. South Park, Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. South Park, somewhat similar to The Simpsons, got popular off a Christmas episode. With South Park though, theirs were more shorts about Jesus versus Santa, and in this episode, whilst it wasn't the first South Park episode, or being the first to have a Christmas theme, it did introduce a weird but lovable character, that being Mr. Hanky. Never mind the Buzzcocks Christmas episode. Whilst not from a sitcom, it's just a Christmas themed episode that brings me a lot of joy and humour. Admittedly, yes, it is attacking a lot of celebrities, but I still enjoy it. Now onto the list itself. At number 10 we have American Dad, The Best Christmas Story Never Told. Honestly, of all the American Dad Christmas episodes, this is one I truly love rewatching, not only for the time travel element and seeing how one mistake in the past that they do has a huge effect on the present day, but also the side plot with Roger, which in my eyes made him one of, if not the more iconic character in the show, and this was just a footnote into making that character blow up, at least in my eyes. At number 9 we have My Name is Earl, White Lie Christmas. Another favourite to watch, and in my eyes the only good Christmas themed episode on the entire show. I really enjoyed seeing how everyone in Joy's family is as big of a liar as she is, and Earl is forced into lying to give his illegitimate children and Joy the best Christmas. And we're just seeing how he is having to deal with this moral dilemma of what's supposed to be good for him and Karma, but also to give the best Christmas to Joy and her family. At number 8 we have Married with Children, You Better Watch Out. This to me was hysterical from the jump. First seeing how the Bundys celebrate Christmas themselves, and then seeing something so tragic haunts their neighbours, but to them it's just an annoying occurrence. But I will say it was nice to see Al acting kind for once and doing something good for the neighbourhood. Sadly, it does bite him in the ass, but also seeing the family get a win too was also a nice way to wrap up this episode. At number 7 we have Malcolm in the Middle, Hal's Christmas Gift. I love this episode, firstly because we see Lois having a breakdown and doing something so chaotic just like her children, but then the best bit about this episode is to see Hal trying to come up with the best Christmas gift and seeing truths being hidden from all family members. And the cherry on top, it was the first ever Christmas episode of this show I ever watched. At number 6 we have Always Sunny in Philadelphia, A Very Sunny Christmas. This was both hilarious yet disturbed take on Christmas, seeing the traditions each member of the gang had as children, only for it to be revealed as more traumatic. And it was interesting to see the gang trying to save their Christmas, only to hit a brick wall each time until they end up hating the holiday. At number 5, we have Peep Show with Seasonal Beatings. This to me was great, as we see how the two characters deal with Christmas, with Jeremy being very Christmas spirited and loves the atmosphere, while Mark seems to despise it and treats it like a chore and just wants to get through with it. I enjoyed seeing Mark's parents slowly sour the character's Christmas and put a divide between him and Dobby. But the episode does end with Mark finally growing a backbone and standing up for himself. At number 4, we have Futurama with A Tale of Two Santas. This was fantastic, as the crew decided to take action against Santa, and Bender, of all characters, replacing him and attempting to do good, only to be assaulted by the civilians of New York and nearly die by the law. This episode brought so many laughs and a fantastic song, and has a quote that has stuck with me since I saw it. That quote being, "I help those who help themselves." But at number 3, we have The Simpsons, Holiday of Future Past. I really enjoyed this episode for many reasons. First, from the fact that it's a future-themed Christmas episode, diving into the lives of all the family, but also seeing Springfield change. But I loved this episode as it was originally going to be the final episode due to budgetary issues with Fox. I think this would have been a fitting ending to see a show that started on a Christmas episode end on a Christmas episode too. At number 2, we have Bottom, the episode Holy. From the beginning, this episode brings in a ton of laughs, and I enjoyed their Christmas tradition, or with Eddie wanting to just watch TV, but Richie is very traditional. Even though it's Christmas, we're still seeing them get into all sorts of violent antics, whether it's towards each other or on themselves, and for once the episode ends on a somewhat happy ending for the duo. But at number 1, my favourite Christmas episode of all time is Blackadder's Christmas Carol. This episode took a spin on the infamous Scrooge story, where Ebenezer Blackadder is the nicest man in the city and is taken advantage of by people playing on his sympathies. But on Christmas Eve, he sees a spirit to congratulate him on his good deeds in comparison to his ancestors, and I love that we get to see the old variations of Blackadder from Series 2 and Series 3, but even a future version of himself. Now what's really hooking is how we see Ebenezer Scrooge change overnight and becomes very mean, even more so than his ancestors. And while it doesn't end well for Ebenezer Blackadder, it definitely brings in a huge amount of laughs, and it's just a great way to end off the episode. And that is my list. If you feel like I may have missed out, or you have some suggestions of Christmas episodes that I would enjoy, please let me know in the comments. But thank you very much for watching, and of course, Merry Christmas.